I always thought for better or worse meant her booking my vasectomy without asking. Turns out I was right about the worst part. My name is Aaron Blake, and I'm a 33-year-old high school English teacher who just discovered that my wife Fiona scheduled me for a little snip-snip procedure like I was her pet dog. The confirmation email sat there in my inbox like a ticking bomb. Appointment confirmed for Aaron Blake. Vasectomy consultation, Thursday, 2 p.m. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. Honey, I called to Fiona as she rushed around our suburban kitchen, grabbing her nurse's scrubs and coffee. Did you book me a vasectomy? She barely looked up from her phone, fingers flying across the screen. Oh, that. Yeah, we talked about it. 2 kids is enough, and I'm tired of birth control messing with my hormones. We talked about it? When exactly did we have this conversation? Aaron, I don't have time for this. I'm already late for my shift. She grabbed her keys and headed for the door. It's just a consultation anyway. We can discuss it later. The door slammed before I could respond. I stared at the email, my coffee growing cold in my hands. We'd never discussed a vasectomy, not once. But apparently, Fiona had made the executive decision for both of us. I picked up my phone and called the clinic. Hi, I need to cancel an appointment for Aaron Blake. Of course, sir. There will be a cancellation fee of $200 since it's less than 48 hours notice. That's fine. $200 to avoid having my tubes tied without consent seemed like a bargain. After I hung up, I sat there thinking, if Fiona could make medical decisions for me without asking, maybe I could return the favor. I opened my laptop and started browsing. Within an hour, I'd found the perfect solution. Dr. Patricia Hendricks, marriage and family therapist. Her website promised intensive couples counseling packages and breakthrough communication sessions. I booked Fiona for a 10-session package, non-refundable, of course. The total came to $1,200, which I charged to our joint credit card. Then I sent the confirmation email to Fiona, CCing her 3 best friends, Jessica, Maya, and Riley. The email read, Hi Fiona, I've scheduled us some therapy sessions to work on our communication issues. Since you made a medical appointment for me without asking, I figured I'd return the favor. Your first session is Thursday at 2 p.m., the same time you booked my vasectomy. The girls are CC'd for support. Love, Aaron. I hit send and felt a small smile creep across my face. If Fiona wanted to play games, I could play too. The rest of the day passed normally. I taught my usual classes, graded papers, and chatted with my colleague Tasha during lunch. Tasha Morrison was 30 years old, taught history, and had a razor-sharp wit that could cut through steel. She was also one of the few people who saw through Fiona's sweet nurse act. You look different today, Tasha said, biting into her sandwich. Less defeated. I canceled my vasectomy. She nearly choked on her food. You're what now? I explained the morning's events, including my therapeutic revenge. Tasha listened with growing amazement. Aaron Blake, you magnificent bastard. I didn't think you had it in you. Neither did I. But apparently there's a limit to how much manipulation I can take. My phone buzzed. A text from Fiona. What the hell is wrong with you? Another buzz. Cancel that therapy crap right now. And another. My friends think you've lost your mind. I showed the texts to Tasha, who burst out laughing. Oh, this is beautiful. She can dish it out, but can't take it. The final bell rang, and I headed home, wondering what kind of storm would be waiting for me. But when I pulled into our driveway, I saw something that made me freeze. A silver BMW sat next to Fiona's Honda. I recognized it immediately. It belonged to Dr. Marcus Field, one of the ER doctors at Fiona's hospital. Through our living room window, I could see 2 figures on the couch, a wine bottle on the coffee table between them. Fiona's laugh drifted through the glass, high and musical. The same laugh she used to give me when we first started dating. I sat in my car for a long moment, pieces clicking into place. The late shifts, the sudden coldness, the vasectomy appointment, the phone constantly buzzing with work messages. My wife wasn't just making medical decisions for me. She was making other decisions too. I didn't storm into the house like some jealous husband in a bad movie. Instead, I drove to the local coffee shop and sat there for 2 hours thinking. By the time I returned home, Marcus's BMW was gone, and Fiona was in the kitchen making dinner like nothing had happened. "How was your day?" she asked, not looking up from the stove. "Educational. How was yours?" "Busy. We had a trauma come in during my lunch break, so Dr. Field and I had to grab coffee here instead of at the hospital. Hope you don't mind." The lie rolled off her tongue so smoothly, I almost admired it. Almost. Of course not. Dr. Field seems nice. He is, very professional. She turned to face me, and I saw something flicker in her eyes. Guilt? Fear? "Aaron, about that therapy thing." "What about it?" "I think we should cancel it. It's expensive and we don't really need it." "But we do need it, Fiona. We clearly have communication problems. You scheduled me for surgery without asking, and I booked therapy without asking. We're even." She set down her spatula harder than necessary. "It's not the same thing." "Isn't it? We're both making decisions that affect our relationship without consulting each other. A vasectomy is different than therapy." "You're right. A vasectomy is permanent." We ate dinner in tense silence. Afterward, Fiona disappeared into our bedroom with her phone. I could hear her voice through the door, low and urgent, but couldn't make out the words. The next morning, she tried a different approach. "Aaron, I've been thinking. Maybe we should try something new in our relationship." I looked up from my coffee. "New how?" "Well, we've been together for 5 years, married for 3. Maybe we need some excitement." "What kind of excitement?" She sat down across from me, her nurse's uniform crisp and white. "What if we tried an open marriage?" The coffee cup froze halfway to my lips. An open marriage. It's very modern, very progressive. We love each other, but maybe we need to explore other connections too. It could actually strengthen our bond. I set down my cup carefully. "And this idea just came to you?" "I've been reading about it online. Lots of couples are doing it now. It's about trust and communication and growing together." The irony was so thick I could taste it. The woman who scheduled my vasectomy without asking was talking about trust and communication. "Interesting timing," I said. Right after Dr. Field was here for coffee. Her cheeks flushed pink. "This has nothing to do with Marcus." "Marcus, is it? Not Dr. Field anymore?" "Aaron, don't be paranoid. This is about us." I leaned back in my chair, studying her face. She was serious. She actually thought she could manipulate me into agreeing to this. "Okay," I said. "Okay? Sure, let's try an open marriage. But we need rules." Relief flooded her features. "Of course. What kind of rules?" "First, no lovers in our house. This is our sacred space." "That makes sense." "Second, full transparency. We tell each other everything. Names, places, what we do." She nodded eagerly. "Third, regular STD testing for both of us. Safety first." "Absolutely." "Fourth, we both have veto power. If either of us becomes uncomfortable with the other's choice of partner, we can call it off." "Fair enough," I smiled. "Great. I'll call Dr. Hendricks and let her know we'll be needing those therapy sessions after all. Open marriages require excellent communication." Her smile faltered. "Aaron." "What?" "You said this was about trust and communication. Therapy will help us navigate this new phase of our relationship." She opened her mouth to argue, then seemed to think better of it. "Fine, but I still think $1,200 is excessive. It's an investment in our marriage. Besides, you'll probably save that much on birth control now that I'm seeing other people." I left for work feeling oddly satisfied. If Fiona wanted to play games, I'd play along, but I'd be playing by my rules. At lunch, I filled Tasha in on the morning's conversation. She listened with growing disbelief. She actually asked for an open marriage? With a straight face, said it would strengthen our bond. And you agreed? I agreed to her rules. She agreed to mine. The difference is, she doesn't realize what my rules actually mean. Tasha raised an eyebrow. Explain. Full transparency means I get to know everything about her and Marcus. Regular STD testing means she has to admit she's already sleeping with him. And the veto power. I grinned. Well, let's just say I have some very specific standards about who my wife can date. Aaron Blake, you sneaky son of a bitch. What's your next move? I need to gather some intelligence. Want to help me with a little reconnaissance mission? That evening, Tasha and I went to Murphy's Bar, the trendy place near the hospital where the medical staff like to hang out after shifts. We sat in a corner booth, nursing beers and watching the crowd. There, I said, nodding toward the bar. Marcus Field stood there in his scrubs, holding court with a group of nurses and residents. Even from across the room, his arrogance was palpable. He's not bad looking, Tasha admitted. In a smarmy, entitled doctor kind of way. Listen to what he's saying. We strained to hear over the bar noise. Marcus was telling some story about a patient, his voice carrying across the room. So I told her, Lady, if you wanted gentle, you should have gone to your family doctor. This is the ER. The group laughed. But seriously, some of these people have no idea what we deal with. They think because they pay taxes, they own us. One of the nurses giggled. You're terrible, Marcus. Speaking of terrible, he said, lowering his voice just enough that we had to lean forward to hear. I've got this situation with a married woman. Sweet little thing, but her husband is... He made a jerking motion with his hand. Total loser, high school teacher. Can you imagine? My hands clenched into fists under the table. Tasha put her hand on my arm. Anyway, she's been hinting about leaving him, but I'm not looking for anything serious. Just having some fun, you know? The group laughed again, and I felt something cold settle in my chest. This wasn't just about Fiona being unhappy in our marriage. This was about Marcus using her, and her being too blind to see it. I've heard enough, I whispered to Tasha. Wait, she said, pulling out her phone. Let me get some of this on video. We sat there for another 20 minutes, recording Marcus's increasingly crude comments about his various conquests, including several detailed references to the married nurse and her pathetic husband. When we finally left, I had enough material to end both their careers and their relationship, but I wasn't ready to play that card yet. What now? Tasha asked as we walked to our cars. Now I start playing by Fiona's new rules, and she's going to discover that open marriages work both ways. The next morning, Fiona was practically glowing at breakfast. I have a date tonight, she announced. With Marcus? Yes, we're going to dinner at Romano's. Romano's was the most expensive Italian restaurant in town, the same place I'd taken her for our anniversary last year. Sounds nice. I hope you have fun. She looked surprised by my calm reaction. You're not upset? Why would I be upset? This was your idea, remember? Besides, I have a date too. Her fork clattered against her plate. With who? Tasha Morrison. You remember her. She teaches history at my school. That's not a real date. Why not? She's attractive, intelligent, single. We have great chemistry. She's your co-worker, and Marcus is yours. What's the difference? Fiona's face went through several interesting color changes. It's just... I didn't think you'd actually... What, date other people in our open marriage? Isn't that the whole point? She stared at me like she was seeing me for the first time. Maybe she was. Full transparency, remember? I continued. Tasha and I are going to see a movie, then back to her place for drinks. She makes excellent martinis. None of this was true, of course. Tasha and I were planning to follow Fiona and Marcus to Romano's, but Fiona didn't need to know that. "I have to get ready for work," Fiona said, standing abruptly. "Have a great day, honey. And remember, full transparency. I want to hear all about your date when you get home." She left without another word, and I smiled into my coffee. Round 2 was about to begin. That evening, Tasha and I sat in her car across the street from Romano's, watching Fiona and Marcus through the restaurant's large windows. They were at a corner table, leaning close together, Marcus's hand covering hers on the white tablecloth. "I feel like a private investigator," Tasha said, adjusting the camera lens on her phone. "A really vindictive private investigator." "We're just gathering information for our open and honest marriage," I replied, taking photos with my own phone. "Full transparency, remember?" Marcus was pulling out all the stops: wine, flowers, the works. Fiona looked radiant in a dress I'd never seen before, a red number that probably cost more than my weekly salary. "When did she buy that dress?" Tasha asked, reading my mind. "Good question. Probably around the same time she booked my vasectomy." We watched them through dinner, documenting everything. The way Marcus fed her dessert, how Fiona laughed at his jokes, the kiss they shared over coffee. By the time they left the restaurant, I had enough photos to fill a small album. "They're heading to his car," Tasha observed. "Should we follow them?" "No need. I know where they're going." Marcus lived in Harborview Towers, the most expensive apartment complex in the city, 30 floors of glass and steel overlooking the waterfront. His penthouse probably cost more per month than I made in 6 months. "How do you know where he lives?" "Hospital directory. Amazing what you can find online these days." We drove home in comfortable silence. When I got back to our house, I sat in my car for a moment, looking at the dark windows. My wife was in another man's bed, and I was sitting alone in my driveway. 6 months ago, this would have destroyed me. Tonight, it just felt like another piece of data to add to my growing file. I went inside and made myself a sandwich, then sat down at my laptop. Time to do some research. Dr. Marcus Field had quite the online presence: Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, all public profiles showcasing his perfect life. Photos of expensive vacations, his BMW, his penthouse view, and in several recent photos, a woman who definitely wasn't Fiona. I dug deeper. The woman's name was Catherine Field, his wife of 8 years. Marcus was married. I sat back in my chair, processing this information. Fiona thought she was having an affair with a single doctor who might leave his exciting life for her. In reality, she was the side piece to a married man who was using her for entertainment. My phone buzzed with a text from Fiona. "Staying at Jessica's tonight. Girls' night got late." I typed back, "Have fun. Tasha says hi." 3 dots appeared and disappeared several times before she finally responded. "How was your date?" "Enlightening. We have great chemistry. She's very responsive." No response. I spent the next hour creating a detailed timeline of Fiona's lies, Marcus's bragging at the bar, and their dinner date. Then I started planning phase 2 of my response. The next morning, I arrived at school early and found Tasha already in her classroom, grading papers. "You look like you didn't sleep," she said, looking up from her desk. "I was busy. Want to see something interesting?" I showed her the photos I'd found of Marcus and his wife. Tasha's eyes widened. "Holy shit, Aaron. He's married?" "Very married. And his wife looks like she has money. Check out that rock on her finger." Tasha studied the photos. "So what's the plan?" "I'm going to follow Fiona's rules exactly. Full transparency, remember, she needs to know everything about her new boyfriend." "How are you going to tell her?" "I'm not. She's going to find out on her own." During my lunch break, I created a fake Facebook profile using one of my old yearbook photos. Then I sent a friend request to Catherine Field, with a message. Hi, Catherine. I think we have some mutual friends in the medical community. I've seen some concerning photos of your husband with one of the nurses from his hospital. Thought you should know. I attached 3 of the clearest photos from the night before, along with screenshots of Marcus's bragging session at Murphy's bar. Within an hour, Catherine had accepted my friend request and responded, "Thank you for bringing this to my attention. Marcus and I will be having a serious conversation tonight." Phase 2 was in motion. That evening, Fiona came home around 7, glowing with post-date happiness. She'd clearly spent the day with Marcus, probably in his penthouse bed. "How was your day?" I asked, not looking up from the papers I was grading. "Good. Busy at the hospital." She sat down across from me. "Aaron, about last night." "What about it?" "I just want to make sure you're okay with this. With us seeing other people." "I'm fine with it. Are you having second thoughts?" "No, not second thoughts. It's just, this is new territory for both of us." "True. How was your date with Marcus?" She blushed. "It was nice. He took me to Romano's." "Expensive choice. He must really like you." "I think he does. He's very attentive." "I'm sure he is. Did he tell you much about himself? His background? His family?" "Some. He grew up in California, went to medical school at Stanford. Very impressive." "What about his personal life? Ever been married?" "He was engaged once, but it didn't work out. Said she was too controlling." I nodded, filing away another lie. "That's too bad. What about now? Is he looking for something serious?" "We haven't talked about that yet. It's still early." My phone buzzed with a text. I glanced at it and smiled. Tasha wants to know if I'm free tomorrow night. Apparently she enjoyed our date too. Fiona's face tightened almost imperceptibly. "That's nice. She's thinking dinner at her place. More intimate than a restaurant." "Right. Well, I might be working late tomorrow. We're short-staffed." "On a Saturday?" "Medical emergencies don't follow schedules, Aaron." "Of course not. I'm sure Dr. Field appreciates having such dedicated colleagues." She looked at me sharply, but I was already back to grading papers. After a moment, she went upstairs to shower. While the water was running, her phone buzzed on the kitchen counter. A text from M. Probably Marcus. The message preview showed, "Can't stop thinking about last night. When can I see you again?" I took a photo of the message with my phone, then went back to my papers. Full transparency worked both ways. The next morning, Fiona left early for a shift that I was pretty sure didn't exist. I spent the day cleaning the house and preparing for the evening's entertainment. Around 3 p.m., my fake Facebook profile received a message from Catherine Field. "Confronted Marcus last night. He denied everything at first, but I had photos. He's moving out today. Thank you for opening my eyes." I felt a moment of satisfaction, followed immediately by anticipation. Marcus was about to have a very bad day, which meant Fiona was too. Sure enough, my phone rang at 4:30. Fiona's name appeared on the screen. "Aaron?" Her voice was shaky. "Something's happened." "What's wrong?" "It's Marcus. His wife showed up at the hospital today. She caused a scene. Security had to escort her out." "His wife? I thought he was single." "So did I." She was crying now. "Aaron, I think I made a terrible mistake." "What kind of mistake?" "He lied to me. About everything. He's married, and now his wife knows about us, and she's threatening to report both of us to the hospital administration." "That sounds serious." "It is serious. I could lose my job over this. And Marcus, he's acting like it's all my fault, like I seduced him or something." "Did you?" "That's not the point. He told me he was single. He said he was looking for someone special." "And you believed him?" "Why wouldn't I?" "Aaron, I need your help. We need to figure out how to handle this." I looked around our living room, at the photos of our wedding day still hanging on the walls, at the life we'd built together that she'd been so eager to throw away. "I'm sorry, Fiona, but I can't help you with this." "What do you mean?" "This is your open marriage, remember? Your idea, your rules, your consequences. You wanted to explore other connections. Well, congratulations. You explored one. Aaron, please. I know I messed up, but did you sleep with him? Silence. Fiona, did you sleep with Marcus? That's not. We agreed on an open marriage. You said it was okay. I said I agreed to try it. I never said I'd clean up your messes when it went wrong. So what am I supposed to do? I don't know. Maybe you should call Dr. Hendricks. We have that therapy appointment on Monday. I hung up and turned off my phone. Outside, the sun was setting over our quiet suburban neighborhood. Mrs. Carraway was watering her garden next door, and Mr. Lee was trimming his hedges. Normal people living normal lives, not destroying their marriages for a few nights with lying doctors. My phone buzzed with texts from Fiona, but I didn't read them. Instead, I opened my laptop and started working on phase 3 of my plan. If Fiona wanted an open marriage, she was going to get one. But it was going to be more open than she'd ever imagined. Monday morning arrived with the subtlety of a freight train. Fiona had spent the weekend at Jessica's house, sending me increasingly frantic texts that I mostly ignored. The few I did answer were brief and unhelpful. Talk to Dr. Hendricks about it, and this is what you wanted. She came home Monday morning to change clothes before work, looking like she hadn't slept in days. Her usually perfect hair was limp, her skin pale and blotchy. Aaron, we need to talk. Can't. I'll be late for work. I grabbed my coffee and headed for the door. This can't wait. Marcus won't return my calls, his wife is threatening to sue me, and the hospital is conducting an investigation. Sounds stressful. Good thing we have therapy tonight. I can't go to therapy, not with everything that's happening. The sessions are non-refundable, Fiona. Might as well get our money's worth. I left her standing in our kitchen, looking lost and desperate. Part of me felt sorry for her, a very small part. At school, Tasha was waiting in my classroom with coffee and a knowing smile. I saw the news about Dr. Field's wife, she said, settling into the student desk next to mine. News travels fast in a small town. Especially when the wife is Catherine Whitmore Field, daughter of the Whitmore family that owns half the medical buildings in the city. I looked up from my lesson plans. She has money? Old money, real money, the kind that comes with lawyers and influence. Tasha grinned. Your boy Marcus picked the wrong wife to cheat on. He's not my boy. He's Fiona's problem now. Speaking of Fiona, how's she handling the fallout? About as well as you'd expect. She wants me to help her fix it. And you said? I said this is what she wanted. An open marriage with full transparency. She's getting both. My phone buzzed with another text from Fiona. This one was different. Please don't do this to me. I know I hurt you, but I love you. We can fix this. I showed it to Tasha, who snorted. A little late for that, don't you think? About 6 months too late. The day passed slowly. I taught my classes, graded papers, and tried to focus on normal life. But my mind kept drifting to the therapy session that evening. Dr. Hendricks was expecting a couple working on communication issues. She was about to get a front-row seat to the collapse of a marriage. At 6 p.m., I arrived at Dr. Hendricks's office. Fiona was already there, sitting in the waiting room with red-rimmed eyes and tissues clutched in her hands. Aaron, thank God. I wasn't sure you'd come. I said I'd be here. Dr. Hendricks appeared in the doorway of her office. She was a middle-aged woman with kind eyes and graying hair pulled back in a neat bun. Mr. and Mrs. Blake? Please come in. Her office was designed to be calming. Soft lighting, comfortable chairs, tissues strategically placed on every surface. We sat across from each other in matching armchairs, while Dr. Hendricks settled behind her desk with a notepad. So, she began, Aaron mentioned communication issues in his intake form. Can you tell me more about what brought you here today? Fiona looked at me expectantly. When I didn't speak, she cleared her throat. We're trying an open marriage, she said, but it's not going well. Dr. Hendricks' pen paused over her notepad. An open marriage. How long have you been exploring this arrangement? About a week, I said. It was Fiona's idea. I see, and what specific challenges are you facing? Well, Fiona began, Aaron isn't being supportive. I'm going through a difficult situation with someone I met, and he won't help me. What kind of situation? Fiona's composure cracked. The man I've been seeing lied to me. He said he was single, but he's married. Now his wife knows about us, and she's threatening to destroy my career. Dr. Hendricks looked between us. Aaron, how do you feel about this situation? Honestly, I think Fiona is learning that actions have consequences. That's not fair, Fiona snapped. You agreed to this arrangement. I agreed to your rules. Full transparency, remember? Well, now you have full transparency. Your boyfriend is a married man who was using you for sex. His wife has money and lawyers. The hospital is investigating you for unprofessional conduct. Is this transparent enough? Aaron, let me ask you something, Fiona. When exactly did we discuss having an open marriage before you brought it up last week? She opened and closed her mouth like a fish. We didn't, did we? Just like we never discussed you scheduling my vasectomy. You made these decisions unilaterally and expected me to go along with them. Dr. Hendricks was writing furiously. Aaron, it sounds like you have some resentment about the decision-making process in your relationship. I have resentment about being treated like a prop in my own marriage. That's not true, Fiona protested. I love you. I made mistakes, but I love you. You loved me so much you scheduled me for surgery without asking. You loved me so much you decided we needed an open marriage. You loved me so much you spent last weekend in another man's bed. You said it was okay. No, Fiona. I said I'd play by your rules. And I am. Full transparency means everyone gets to know the truth, including Marcus's wife. The color drained from her face. What did you do? I followed your rules. I gathered information and shared it with the relevant parties. Isn't that what open marriages are about? Honesty and communication? You told his wife? I provided her with information she deserved to have, just like you provided Marcus with access to our marriage without asking me. Dr. Hendricks held up her hand. I think we need to slow down here. Aaron, it sounds like you're very angry about how these decisions were made. I'm angry about being manipulated. I'm angry about being lied to. And I'm angry about being expected to clean up the mess when Fiona's grand plan backfired. And Fiona, how do you feel about Aaron's response? I feel like he's punishing me. Yes, I made mistakes, but he's destroying my life out of spite. Is that true, Aaron? Are you trying to punish your wife? I considered the question carefully. Dr. Hendricks, if your husband scheduled you for a medical procedure without asking, then announced he wanted to sleep with other women, then expected you to help him when it went wrong, how would you respond? She was quiet for a long moment. I think I understand your perspective. My perspective is that Fiona wanted an open marriage. Now she has one. It's more open than she expected, but that's not my problem. What do you mean by that? I mean everyone gets to know everything. Her friends, her family, her co-workers, the neighbors, full transparency, just like she wanted. Fiona went white. Aaron, you can't. Please. Can't what? Tell people the truth? Isn't honesty the foundation of a healthy relationship? This isn't honesty. It's revenge. No, Fiona. Revenge would be irrational and destructive. This is consequences. You made choices, and now you get to live with the results. Dr. Hendricks looked between us. I think we need to explore whether this marriage can be salvaged. Aaron, despite your anger, do you still love your wife? I looked at Fiona, sitting there in her wrinkled scrubs with tears streaming down her face. 6 months ago, I would have moved heaven and earth to make her happy. Today, I felt nothing but cold satisfaction. I love the woman I thought I married, but that woman wouldn't have done any of this. Fiona, do you want to save this marriage? Yes, of course I do. Aaron, please, I'll do anything. Anything? Yes. Then you can start by explaining to Dr. Hendricks how long you've been sleeping with Marcus. And I mean the truth this time, not the version where it started after you asked for an open marriage. She stared at me in horror. Aaron, full transparency, remember? The session ended with Fiona sobbing and Dr. Hendricks scheduling us for twice-weekly appointments. As we walked to our cars, Fiona grabbed my arm. Aaron, please, don't destroy me over this. I'm not destroying you, Fiona. I'm just not protecting you from the consequences of your choices anymore. What does that mean? It means you're about to find out what an open marriage really looks like. I got in my car and drove away, leaving her standing in the parking lot. In my rearview mirror, I could see her calling someone on her phone, probably Jessica or Maya, looking for sympathy and support. She was going to need it. The next 2 weeks passed in a blur of strategic maneuvers and carefully orchestrated chaos. True to my word, I had embraced the concept of full transparency with the enthusiasm of a convert. It started small. A casual mention to Mrs. Carraway, our neighbor, about how Fiona was exploring new relationships. A friendly conversation with Mr. Lee about modern marriage trends. A few carefully worded posts on social media about supporting your spouse's personal growth. But the real masterpiece was the neighborhood barbecue. Every year, our subdivision held a summer barbecue in the community park. It was the kind of suburban ritual where everyone pretended to like each other while gathering ammunition for future gossip sessions. This year, I decided to give them something worth talking about. Aaron, you're looking good, said Janet from 3 houses down, balancing a potato salad and a hungry smile. How are things with you and Fiona? Great, actually. We're trying some new things in our relationship, really opening up to new experiences. Oh, like what? Well, Fiona's been dating this doctor from her hospital. Very exciting for her. She's always been attracted to successful men. Janet's eyes widened. Dating? But you're married. Oh yes, we're very married. But we believe in giving each other space to grow. In fact, I've been seeing someone too, Tasha Morrison. She teaches at my school. Lovely woman. Very attentive. I watched Janet's face cycle through confusion, shock, and finally, predatory delight. By the end of the barbecue, half the neighborhood would know that the Blakes were one of those couples. Tasha, bless her heart, played along beautifully. She showed up to the barbecue in a sundress that showed off her figure, bringing homemade brownies and a wicked sense of humor. Aaron's told me so much about all of you, she said to the gathered wives, her arm linked through mine. He says this is such a close-knit community. Everyone knows everyone else's business. The women tittered nervously. It must be nice, Tasha continued, being married to someone who's so open about everything. Aaron tells me Fiona is very adventurous. I squeezed her arm affectionately. Tasha appreciates honesty in relationships, don't you, darling? Absolutely. I think secrets are poison in a marriage. Better to have everything out in the open. Fiona arrived an hour later, looking frazzled and exhausted. The investigation at the hospital was ongoing, and Marcus had been avoiding her since his wife's dramatic appearance. She'd been staying at Jessica's house, but apparently, even her friends were getting tired of the drama. Aaron, she said, approaching our little group with obvious reluctance. Can I talk to you? Of course. You remember Tasha? Hi, Fiona, Tasha said brightly. Aaron's told me so much about you. How's your doctor friend? Fiona's face went through several interesting color changes. We're not seeing each other anymore. Oh, that's too bad. Aaron said you really cared about him. Yes, well, things change. They certainly do, I agreed. Fiona, you look tired. Are you sleeping okay at Jessica's? I'm fine. Good. I was worried about you, especially with everything that's been happening at work. The neighborhood wives leaned in like sharks. Work? Janet prompted. Oh, just some workplace drama, I said casually. You know how hospitals can be. Lots of, interpersonal complications. Fiona shot me a look that could have melted steel. Aaron, can we please talk privately? Of course. Ladies, if you'll excuse us. We walked toward the playground, out of earshot of the main group. What the hell are you doing? Fiona hissed. Having a conversation with our neighbors. Isn't this what you wanted, an open marriage? You know this isn't what I meant. What did you mean, exactly? That you could sleep with Marcus while I sat at home pretending everything was normal. I thought we could be discreet. Discreet? You wanted an open marriage, but you wanted it to be secret? That's not open, Fiona. That's just cheating with permission. Aaron, please. The hospital board is meeting next week. If they hear about this, then maybe you should have thought about that before you started sleeping with a married colleague. I didn't know he was married. Because you didn't bother to find out. You were so excited about your hot doctor that you didn't do basic due diligence. She was crying now, mascara running down her cheeks. I know I messed up, but you're destroying my entire life. I'm not destroying anything. I'm just not hiding your choices anymore. What do you want from me? I want you to understand that actions have consequences. You wanted to open our marriage? Fine. But you don't get to control how open it gets. And if I lose my job? Then you'll find another one. Nurses are in demand. Aaron, I'm begging you, please stop this. I looked at her standing there in her wrinkled sundress, makeup streaked, hair disheveled. 6 months ago, seeing her cry would have broken my heart. Today, it felt like watching a stranger. I'll make you a deal, Fiona. Move back home and I'll stop telling people about our open marriage. Hope flickered in her eyes. Really? Really. But you have to follow the rules we agreed on. Full transparency. No more lies. Okay, yes, I can do that. Good. Because I have some things to tell you too. About Tasha and me. What about you and Tasha? Well, since we're being fully transparent, you should know that we've been spending a lot of time together lately. She's been very supportive during this difficult period. Supportive how? She listens to me. She makes me laugh. She makes me feel appreciated. Aaron, and she's an amazing cook. Much better than you, actually. Are you sleeping with her? I smiled. Full transparency, remember? You'll know everything soon enough. The truth was, Tasha and I hadn't done anything more than share a few meals and a lot of strategic planning sessions. But Fiona didn't need to know that. Let her imagination fill in the blanks. We walked back to the barbecue, where Tasha was holding court with a group of fascinated neighbors. She looked up as we approached, her face a picture of innocent concern. Everything okay? Perfect, I said, putting my arm around her waist. Fiona's going to be moving back home. We're all going to be one big, happy, open family. The look on Fiona's face was priceless. That night, Fiona moved back into our house. She took the guest room without being asked, which was probably wise. I'd already moved all her belongings out of our bedroom and into the spare room anyway. Aaron, she said, standing in the doorway of what used to be our bedroom. I know things are complicated right now, but I want you to know that I'm committed to making this work. Good, because tomorrow we're having dinner with Tasha. I want you two to get to know each other better. Dinner? The three of us? That's what open marriages are about, isn't it? Everyone getting along. I guess. Great. Tasha's making her famous lasagna. She's an excellent cook. Did I mention that? Fiona's jaw tightened. Several times. Well, you'll get to experience it firsthand tomorrow. I think you'll really enjoy getting to know her. She has so many interesting stories about our time together. I closed the bedroom door, leaving Fiona standing in the hallway. Through the thin walls, I could hear her moving around in the guest room, unpacking her things and probably regretting every decision that had led her to this moment. My phone buzzed with a text from Tasha. How did it go? I typed back, she's home. Operation Open Marriage is proceeding according to plan. What's next? Dinner tomorrow. Hope you're ready to put on a show. I was born ready. This is going to be fun. I set down my phone and settled into bed, alone for the first time in 3 years by choice rather than circumstance. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but tonight I felt something I hadn't experienced in months: control. Fiona had wanted an open marriage. She was about to discover just how open it could get. The dinner party was a masterpiece of psychological warfare disguised as suburban hospitality. Tasha arrived at 7 sharp, carrying a bottle of expensive wine and wearing a dress that struck the perfect balance between elegant and provocative. "Fiona," she exclaimed, embracing my wife like they were old friends. "You look wonderful. Aaron's told me so much about you." Fiona managed a weak smile. "Thank you for having us over." "Oh, we're eating here tonight. I thought it would be more intimate. Aaron gave me a key so I could start cooking earlier." The lie rolled off Tasha's tongue so smoothly that even I almost believed it. Fiona's face went pale as she processed the implication that Tasha had a key to our house. "Shall we eat?" I suggested. "Tasha's been cooking all afternoon." The lasagna was actually takeout from Tony's Italian, but Fiona didn't need to know that. We sat at our dining room table, the same table where Fiona had announced her open marriage idea 2 weeks earlier, and made polite conversation. "So, Fiona," Tasha said, twirling pasta around her fork, "Aaron tells me you work at the hospital. That must be exciting." "It has its moments." I imagine it does. All those doctors and nurses working such long hours together. Very intimate environment. Fiona's grip tightened on her wine glass. "It's professional." "Of course. Though Aaron mentioned you've been having some workplace issues lately?" "Nothing serious." "Oh, that's good to hear. Aaron was so worried about you. He's very protective of the people he loves." I reached over and squeezed Tasha's hand. Tasha's been incredibly supportive during this transition. I don't know what I would have done without her. It's been my pleasure. Aaron deserves someone who appreciates him. The barb hit its target. Fiona set down her fork with a sharp clink. "I appreciate my husband." "I'm sure you do. In your own way." "What's that supposed to mean?" "Nothing at all. I just think it's wonderful that you're both exploring new relationships. Very modern." "Aaron, can I speak with you in the kitchen?" "We're in the middle of dinner, honey. Can it wait?" "No, it can't wait." I sighed dramatically. "Excuse us, Tasha, we'll be right back." In the kitchen, Fiona grabbed my arm. "What is she doing here?" "Having dinner. I told you about this." "She's acting like she lives here." "Well, she has been spending a lot of time here lately." "How much time?" "Does it matter? This is what you wanted, remember? An open marriage where we both explore other relationships." "I wanted us to be discreet." There's that word again. Discreet. You keep using it, but I don't think it means what you think it means. "Aaron, please. I can't handle this right now. Work is a nightmare. I'm barely sleeping, and now you're parading your girlfriend around our house." "She's not my girlfriend. She's my exploration partner." "That's worse." "Why? You had an exploration partner. How is this different?" "Because Marcus and I we didn't what? Have dinner together? Hold hands? Spend intimate evenings talking about our hopes and dreams?" Her face crumpled. "Aaron, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I know I hurt you. But this isn't the answer. What would you suggest instead?" "Come to counseling with me. Really try this time. We can work through this." "We are working through this. We're following the rules you established. Open marriage, full transparency, no secrets." "But I don't want an open marriage anymore." "Too bad. You don't get to change the rules just because you're losing the game." We returned to the dining room, where Tasha was checking her phone with a concerned expression. "Everything okay?" I asked. "Actually, there's something you both should see." She held up her phone. "It's on the hospital's Facebook page." Fiona went white. "What is it?" "It's about the investigation into staff conduct. Apparently, they're making an example of inappropriate relationships between colleagues." I took the phone and read the post aloud. "The administration takes allegations of unprofessional conduct seriously. and will not tolerate behavior that compromises patient care or workplace integrity. Effective immediately, Nurse Fiona Blake has been suspended pending a full investigation. The wine glass slipped from Fiona's hand, shattering on the hardwood floor. Red wine spread across the boards. "They suspended me," she whispered. "I'm so sorry," Tasha said, though her tone suggested anything but sympathy. "That must be devastating." "I need to call them. This is a mistake. I need to explain." "Explain what?" I interrupted. "That you were sleeping with a married colleague in violation of hospital policy? You don't understand. Without this job, I can't pay my student loans, my car payment." "Then you should have thought of that before you started your affair." "It wasn't an affair. We had an open marriage." "Which started when, exactly? Before or after you were already sleeping with Marcus?" She stared at me, trapped by her own lies. "That's what I thought." My phone buzzed with a text message, then another, and another. Within minutes, it was buzzing constantly. "What's happening?" Fiona asked. I scrolled through the messages, my smile growing wider with each one. "It seems word about your suspension has spread. Jessica wants to know if it's true. Maya is asking if you need a lawyer. Your mother wants to know why she heard about this from Mrs. Patterson instead of from you." "My mother knows?" "Small town, honey. News travels fast." The doorbell rang. Through the front window, I could see Mrs. Carraway standing on our porch with a casserole dish and an expression of barely contained excitement. "I'll get it," Tasha volunteered. "Mrs. Carraway," I heard her exclaim, "how thoughtful of you to bring food." "Well, I heard about Fiona's troubles at work and thought you all might need some comfort food. These workplace scandals can be so draining." They appeared in the dining room, Mrs. Carraway's eyes bright with curiosity. "Fiona, dear, how are you holding up?" "I'm fine, Mrs. Carraway. Thank you for asking." "Of course, dear. I just want you to know that we're all rooting for you. Marriage is hard work, especially when you're trying alternative arrangements." Fiona's face went through several color changes. "Alternative arrangements?" "Oh, Aaron told us all about your open marriage at the barbecue. So progressive. Though I have to say it seems like it's been quite stressful for everyone involved." "Aaron told you what?" "Now don't be embarrassed, dear. We're all adults here. And Tasha seems lovely. You're so mature to welcome Aaron's new relationship with such grace." Mrs. Carraway beamed at us like we were a particularly entertaining soap opera, which I supposed we were. "I should go," Fiona said abruptly. "I have some calls to make." "Of course, dear. You take care of yourself." After Mrs. Carraway left, Fiona turned to me with fury blazing in her eyes. "You told the entire neighborhood about Marcus?" "I told them about our open marriage. You're the one who made it about Marcus. This is insane. You've destroyed my reputation, my career, my friendships." "I haven't destroyed anything. I've simply stopped protecting you from the consequences of your choices. By humiliating me in front of everyone we know. By being honest about our relationship status. Isn't honesty what you wanted?" She looked around the room, at the broken wine glass, at Tasha sitting calmly at our dinner table, at me standing there with no trace of the accommodating husband she'd taken for granted. "I want a divorce," she said quietly. "Okay? Okay? Sure, I'll call my lawyer tomorrow." "Just like that?" "Just like that. Though I should warn you, the prenup you signed is pretty comprehensive, and given the circumstances of our separation..." Her face went white. "What circumstances?" "Well, adultery is still grounds for fault-based divorce in this state, and I have quite a bit of documentation about your relationship with Marcus." "You can't prove adultery. We had an open marriage." "Did we?" "Because I have texts from you dating back 6 months, talking about your work friend and your late nights at the hospital. I have photos of you and Marcus at Romano's. I have recordings of him bragging about his married conquest at Murphy's bar." "You recorded him?" "Full transparency, remember?" Tasha cleared her throat. "I should probably go. This seems like a private conversation. No, I said, putting my hand on her shoulder. Stay. Fiona's the one who wanted everything out in the open. Aaron, Fiona said, her voice breaking, please. I know I hurt you, but don't do this. Don't destroy me. I'm not destroying you, Fiona. I'm just not rebuilding you anymore. Thunder rumbled outside and rain began pattering against the windows. The storm that had been building all evening was finally breaking. What do you want? She whispered. I want you to understand that actions have consequences. You wanted to treat me like a doormat? Fine, but doormats get replaced eventually. So, this was all revenge? The open marriage, the therapy, bringing her here? This was me playing by your rules. You established the game, Fiona. I just played it better than you did. She stared at me for a long moment, then laughed bitterly. You know what? You're right. I did want an open marriage. I wanted to have my cake and eat it too. I wanted Marcus and the security of being married to you. At least you're being honest now. But you want to know the funny thing? Marcus was never going to leave his wife for me. Even if none of this had happened, even if his wife never found out, he was just using me for sex. I was too stupid to see it. Yes, you were. And you've been planning this whole thing from the beginning, haven't you? The therapy sessions, the neighborhood gossip, everything. I've been adapting to the situation you created. She nodded slowly. Well, congratulations. You won. I hope you're happy. I'm satisfied. Good. Because I'm done. I'll pack my things tonight and be gone in the morning. You can have your house, your girlfriend, and your perfect revenge. She walked toward the stairs, then turned back. Just remember, Aaron, this is who you are now. The kind of man who destroys his wife for making a mistake. I hope that's something you can live with. I can live with it just fine. The question is, can you live with being the kind of woman who betrayed her husband and then blamed him for the consequences? She didn't answer. Just walked upstairs, leaving Tasha and me alone in the wreckage of our dinner party. Well, Tasha said after a moment, that was intense. It's not over yet. As if summoned by my words, there was a loud bang from upstairs, followed by the sound of Fiona shouting. Then heavy footsteps on the stairs. Marcus Field appeared in our dining room, soaking wet from the storm and looking like he'd been drinking. His usually perfect hair was disheveled, his clothes wrinkled and stained. Where is she? He demanded. Where is who? I asked calmly. Don't play dumb with me, Fiona. I know she's here. She's upstairs packing, but I don't think she wants to see you. That's not your decision to make. Actually, it is. This is my house. He stepped closer, and I could smell the alcohol on his breath. You think you're so clever, don't you? Destroying my marriage, getting Fiona suspended, turning everyone against us. I didn't destroy your marriage, Marcus. You did that when you decided to cheat on your wife. We're in love. No, you were having sex. There's a difference. You don't know anything about our relationship. I know you're married. I know you lied to Fiona about it. I know you bragged about using her to your colleagues at Murphy's bar. His face went pale. You recorded that? Among other things. Fiona appeared at the top of the stairs with a suitcase in her hand. Marcus, what are you doing here? I came to get you. We can leave town together, start over somewhere else. With what money? You're getting divorced and I just lost my job. We'll figure it out. We love each other. Do we? Or did we just love the excitement of sneaking around? Marcus looked between Fiona and me, his alcohol-fueled confidence wavering. Fiona, don't let him manipulate you. He's been playing games from the beginning. Yes, he has, she said, walking down the stairs. But so were we. The difference is, he was better at it. So that's it? You're giving up? I'm accepting reality, something I should have done months ago. Marcus's face twisted with rage. This is all your fault, he said, pointing at me. You couldn't just let us be happy? Happy? You were lying to everyone, including each other. We were in love. You were in lust. And now you're both paying the price for it. He took another step toward me, his hands clenching into fists. You smug bastard. You think you've won, but you've lost too. You've lost your wife. I lost my wife 6 months ago when she started sleeping with you. I just didn't realize it yet. Marcus, stop, Fiona said. It's over. We both need to accept that and move on. Move on? My wife took half of everything I own. The hospital is reviewing my contract. My reputation is ruined. And for what? For you to just give up? For me to face reality. This was never going to work, Marcus. We were both living in a fantasy. The fight went out of him all at once. He slumped against the wall, looking older and more defeated than I'd ever seen him. I lost everything, he whispered. You lost everything you deserved to lose, I said. The question is, what are you going to do now? He looked at me with pure hatred. I should kill you. But you won't. Because you're not a killer, Marcus. You're just a selfish man who got caught. Thunder crashed outside, and the lights flickered. In the brief darkness, I saw Marcus's face clearly. Not the confident doctor who'd stolen my wife, but a broken man who'd gambled everything and lost. Get out of my house, I said quietly. He straightened up, trying to salvage some dignity. Fiona, are you coming with me or not? She looked at him for a long moment, then shook her head. No, Marcus, I'm not. Then I guess we're both alone. I guess we are. He walked to the door, then turned back one last time. You know what, Aaron? You deserve each other. You're both cold, calculating people who care more about winning than about love. Maybe so, I said, but at least we're honest about it now. After he left, the three of us stood in the sudden silence. Outside, the storm was reaching its peak, rain lashing against the windows, and wind howling through the trees. I should go too, Fiona said finally. Where will you go? Jessica's, for now, until I figure things out. And then? I don't know. Maybe I'll leave town. Start over somewhere else. That might be for the best. She picked up her suitcase and walked toward the door, then stopped. Aaron? Yes? I really did love you. Maybe not the way I should have, but I did love you. I know, and I loved you too. But love isn't always enough, is it? No, I guess it's not. She opened the door and stepped out into the storm. Through the window, I watched her load her suitcase into her car and drive away, her tail lights disappearing into the rain. Well, Tasha said, settling back into her chair, that was dramatic. It's finally over. Is it? Or is this just the beginning? I looked around our dining room, the broken wine glass still scattered on the floor, the half-eaten dinner growing cold on the table, the empty chair where my wife used to sit. I guess we'll find out. Outside, the storm raged on, but inside, everything was finally quiet. I'd won the game Fiona started, but victory felt different than I'd expected. Not triumphant, just empty. But sometimes empty is better than full of lies. I picked up the broken pieces of the wine glass and threw them away, then started clearing the table. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, divorce proceedings, neighborhood gossip, the long process of rebuilding a life that had been torn apart by betrayal and revenge. But tonight, for the first time in months, I was exactly where I wanted to be, in control of my own destiny, with no one to answer to but myself. The storm outside was already beginning to fade, and in the distance I could see the first hints of dawn breaking through the clouds. It was going to be a beautiful day.